today. Hey, I hope you got your pen and paper ready because I know I do. I've got the man, the myth, one of the biggest guys that I follow. And Coach, seriously, I have watched everything and read everything. Your book that you had out, very influential. I can't speak, but I'm here with the great Coach Brent Dearmon. Coach, thank you so much for doing this.
Yes, sir. I'm fired up to get on here and talk some ball during this time of year.
Heck yeah. Now, coaches, I don't know if you know this, but he's got like cut-ups and everything. So what we're going to do is if you have any questions for him, put them in the chat. I'm going to ask him when there's like a stoppage or whatever. And Coach, I will bring it up. It looks like right now the screen you have, there you go. I'm going to add the screen. Take it away, Coach.
All right. I'm gonna jump right into it. If you ever been with me before, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, I've got two screens here. So maybe I can pull this screen to the other side, and that way I can see multiple things. There we go. We're good to go. All right. So I'm going to talk about how we build our RPOs. This is what I show my coaches. This is what I show our quarterbacks, because if your quarterback doesn't understand what you're trying to do and doesn't understand what's going on, then it's going to be a long year, and he's going to be hurt. He's going to make bad decisions. So the first thing we're going to do is we fit our RPOs into our system. We have a system. And I know that's a word that scares people, is system. Well, we have a system, and we stick to that system. Now, we kind of alter it every year based a little bit off of our quarterback, but we're going to run inside zone, power counter, and bug sweep, as you see right there. That doesn't mean I don't like other schemes. I don't dislike tackle dart or dislike some other concepts. I'm not a great outside zone fan, to be honest with you, but we're going to stick to those four schemes so our O-line can get really good at those four things. And then the next thing we're a tempo team. So we try to limit our verbiage. Instead of having 17-word play calls, a lot of our play calls are one-word play calls. And the way I've tried to describe it, I said in the book a few years ago, is it's like pulling into McDonald's. I don't go into McDonald's and say, hey, I want a Big Mac, fries, and a large Coke. I ask for a number one. And they know what a number one is. So the same way that your kids know the menu at McDonald's is the same way that we're going to teach our RPO system, or our whole system, to be honest with you. All right, the next thing you're going to see here is why we RPO. This is something that I get a lot of coaches that ask me, well, aren't you scared that your quarterback's going to throw it too much? No, I'm not scared he's going to throw it too much because of what I ingrain in him from day one. We run the football. That's why we call RPOs. I want to run the ball. When do you throw it? You throw it when they stop the run. You don't throw it just to throw 5-yard hitches. Nobody came on Friday night, on Saturday afternoon, to watch you throw 5-yard hitches. Nobody bought the price of a ticket to see you throw hitches all day. You throw the ball when there is a problem in the run box, and we give our quarterback a gap in everything we do. Our job at quarterback is to fix the run, as you see there. And then, as I just said, they have a gap every single play in a run game. Even if we don't put an RPO tag, they have a gap. If they blitz your gap, what are you going to do? Like, for example, on the backside of power, one thing that I was able to hit it off with Coach Miles at LSU, at my time at Kansas, with him being an old school 22 personnel, I told Coach, hey, on power, our quarterback has the backside gap. When you were at LSU, Coach, you would be under center and you turn around and the quarterback would pitch it, and then he'd turn around and block that gap. Well, me, out of the gun, I'm either going to have a right now throw that fixes it, or the quarterback's going to hand it and kind of fence off that backside gap, because he understands there's a gap on every single run play that is his gap. And we'll talk about gap scheme runs today, mainly because Coach McKie called me out and got on to me for just wanting to talk inside zone runs. So we're going to put some gap scheme runs in the thing today. Here's my toolbox that I give my quarterbacks. And this is something that I make sure they understand, because it's easy to teach inside zone RPOs. It's very easy to teach. And that's why a lot of us live off of inside zone RPOs, because there's not holes on the inside where your quarterback can get hit. So what can my quarterback do? I try to give them a toolbox. Do I need the Phillips head screwdriver? Do I need the flathead screwdriver? Do I need the hammer for this job? Do I need the wrench for this job? I give them a toolbox and say, all right, you can pull out of that toolbox what you need for that job. And in a zone scheme, an inside zone, there's 3 things that they can do in an RPO. Number one is they can ride read the A-gap or the D-gap player, the apex player. That apex player may be the Sam linebacker, 90% of the coverages to the field. It's going to be the boundary safety in 90% of coverages to the boundary. But we teach a gap, and I'll get into that here in a second, and why we teach gaps instead of reading men. The second thing they can do is they can ride read the gap for a run. And if you followed me at all, that's kind of changed through the years. When I used to teach C-gap reads and D-gap reads and how they were different. Well, now I teach if your gap player is a blitzer, you're going to run out of it. So if you're reading a C-gap defensive end and he's blitzing you, then you're going to run out of it. If you're reading a D-gap Sam linebacker and he blitzes, you're going to run out of it. So they understand what their gap is, and if their gap blitzes, you can run the football. And then the last thing you can do is make a now throw. You can catch the ball and throw it right now if it's there. Now, here's a big change, and we're going to get into this big time today, is in the gap scheme world. There's a massive problem, and if I have any O-line coaches in the room, they usually give me a hallelujah or a raise the roof in the back when I start talking about the massive problem on gap scheme. The massive problem is that backside hole where that guard just left from. And Coach is a math teacher as well. I have a math degree, taught high school math for 5 years. And my geometry proof tells me if I add a gap to the left side, then there's a massive hole on the right side. That's my proof. And I can prove it by formula Coach Dearmon taught me this summer, all right? Whatever way you want to put in your proof there, all right? So our gap schemes, I'm going to ride read the gap still that I'm responsible for. It could be that overhang apex linebacker. A lot of people, when they put in power, they put in the spot screen out to number one. That's the easiest one to usually put in off of gap scheme, all right? The second thing, if your guy blitzes, you can throw a hot throw, all right? If he's coming right now, I don't want to ride read anymore. I may just want to deal that spot screen right now because he's blitzing. I don't want to get hit in the mouth. What I like to call my quarterbacks as Shawn Michaels sweet chin music. He's coming to try to knock me out. And then the third thing is I can fence off pressure. And if they're blitzing from that backside hot gap, I can hand the ball off to the back and kind of wall off or act like I'm playing power forward in basketball and box out that backside blitzer. All right, the next thing we're going to get to is our RPO questions. And our questions are kind of how we build each RPO weekly. If I need to, we've got about 25 RPOs that is in our installs, is our base. But then I'm going to pick about 6 of those every week to really hang our hat on. If I'm a high school coach, I probably pick 4 of those every week to hang my hat on because you're dealing with a little bit younger quarterback. And then we'll try to scheme up 1 or 2 new RPOs based off of what that defense is going to give me every week. But when I scheme up new ones, here's what I've got to do. I've got to teach my quarterback where you're protected. That's the number one thing in dealing with an RPO is where is your franchise protected? And if he doesn't know where he's protected, then there is a massive problem. If he doesn't understand what's going to hit him, there's a massive problem in RPOs. Number 2, who is the conflicted player and where's his pass responsibility? If you ever heard me talk, always reference Matthew chapter 6. And Matthew chapter 6 says, the Lord says that you can't serve 2 masters. He actually says you can't serve God and money. My version of it says you can't serve the run and the pass field, okay? So the Lord is basically telling us in Matthew 6 that the conflicted players can't do both. Defensive coaches try to tell us that they can, all right? They can't do it. It's biblical, all right? Number 3, what is the answer for their secondary coverage? Because at the end of the day, guys, they're going to play their base. Some people play it 60% of the time. Some people play it 80% of the time. But then what is their next call? And if you don't have an answer built in for that next call that they go to, then you're going to be wrong 30% of the time in your RPO world. So we usually put the answer to that secondary call in our RPOs. And there's one guy that is the post-snap read. Well, what's the other 2 receivers doing? Why are they there? What is their route serving a purpose for? And that could be their secondary coverage. All right, and then number 4, if you've ever heard any defensive coach talk about stopping RPOs, it's usually these 3 things that they talk about. Number 1 is they are going to blitz you because they want to hit the quarterback. They want him to have fear in the way that he plays the game. So they want to hit him as much as possible. So your quarterback better understand where he is hot. For us, I've done it multiple ways. We've been a number system in the past. We've been a color system in the past. It tells us kind of directions for both of those. So teaching that quarterback where he's hot based off of either the number system, the color system, whatever you do. The second thing is man coverage. And man coverage you can fix multiple ways. The first way is in recruiting. All right. Some of you guys get to recruit more than I do. I've been to your high schools. I've seen kind of your budget that you've got. You recruit more than I do at the college level. Okay. Recruiting helps man coverage. The second way for us that we fix man coverage is quarterback run game, because nobody's eyes are on the quarterback when they play man coverage. So hurting them that way. And then the third thing is what we like to call, I've kind of tried to patent this. All right. The U.S. government has not allowed me to patent this word yet, but we call them manswers. Manswers are our man answers. And it's a simple way to get in my quarterback's head. Hey, when it's man, what are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to go to my manswers, coach. And I have a menu of manswers. And I usually try to give him 1 or 2 a week. How many times am I going to get caught in an RPO with them playing man? It's not going to be many. So I don't want to overload him with too much thought. And then the last one is bear front. What is your answer to a bear front? And the other thing that is, it may not technically be a bear front, but this new Okie 4 eyes that's starting to take over the world is a bear front. All right. It's a 4 eye, yeah, but he's into that B gap. So what they're trying to do is force things outside the C gap and get late fitters into the fit. So you and your O-line coach need to sit down and say, all right, what's our best answer to bear front? Because we're not going to be able to call all these things against bear front, but we're going to be able to call 1 or 2 of them and be really good against that. So knowing what your bear front answer is. All right. And here's a simplistic form. If my father ever listens to this, I got to make sure that I always go over this. But so when I was a high school quarterback, I was under center a long time ago. And when we ran veer to the right, we called 32 veer. I mean, the fullback was attacking the butt of the guard. That was the two location, the 2 landmark right there. All right. If I was running 23 ISO, that means the tailback was running ISO at the butt of the guard right there. All right. That's kind of out. All right. That old mindset is kind of out now. And the way that I teach the quarterbacks is based off of a gap. There are gaps in football. The space between the guard and the center is the A gap. I never read an A gap player. Okay. If you got a Nick Marshall, a Michael Vick like player, you may want to run midline. We don't run midline. All right. It's not who we are. The next one's a B gap player. It's kind of the same thought. I don't read the B gap player. So I teach them what that gap is, but we never read that gap. Our 2 reads are the C gap and the D gap read. The C gap is the space outside the tackle. The D gap is the space outside of the defensive end or the tight end. All right. I don't teach reading man. I don't teach reading man because I can come out and they can play a coverage that I've never seen before on tape. So our quarterback knows whoever's in that space is who you're responsible for. So that way, if I'm happen to be playing against Gary Patterson, old school robber coverage, that the Sam is outside of, or the free's inside the Sam, and now they're asking the free safety to be the hard fitter to the field, he's my read. Instead of reading that Sam linebacker who's no longer in the fit and he's not in conflict at all, and I'm wasting time and wasting energy trying to read a guy that's not in the run fit. That's why we teach reading a gap player. The other thing is into the boundary. Into the boundary, they may play cover 2 or trap that corner into that space where the safety is no longer the fitter. So if I'm just teaching him reading the safety and that corner is continuously jumping into the fit, he's making all the tackles. We have an answer to that because I'm reading the corner. I'm reading the person that jumped into that space. So I want to make sure that we went over kind of how we teach gaps. Now I've got about 4 or 5 plays, and I'm going to go through kind of quickly right here. And then I've got the chat pulled up. If I see some questions, I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. I want to give you guys one C gap read for us. One read where I'm actually going to read the defensive end. You've got a running quarterback. This is a nasty play. But it's all based for us. It's based on what our quarterback can handle. If you don't think he can handle a lot, I just keep it a boundary read. If you think he can handle a lot, what we do is we ask him to fix the field coverage. When I say fix the field coverage is if the Sam linebacker gets too tight to the box, I tell him to fix it. On this playbook page, on day 1 install, he fixes it with a bubble. All right. As we progress, We call this a leverage, all right? And coaches from the South as well. Anybody in the South, anybody that grew up in the Southern Baptist world, you had this hymnal, and they had a song called Deep and Wide, all right? Deep and wide. All right, that's how we define leverage, all right? Leverage is based off of depth and width. So I may not love a bubble, but you know what you may love? You may love an out route. You may love a stick route. Your job is to fix the field if that D-gap player is too tight to the box. We now call that a leverage throw. Whatever leverage throw you like, you just throw it. And you better be at about 90 to 95% completion percentage throwing leverage throws. Because if we're not, we're wasting our time. And I'm just going to bring those receivers in a little bit tighter, and they're going to start blocking because you are wasting plays and you're getting me in 2nd and 10. And I'm not as good of a coordinator in 2nd and 10 as I would like to be, okay? The next thing, if I eliminate that, let's say the Sam is not tight enough to the fit, the free is not tight enough to the fit, I eliminate that side of the field. And then I go to the boundary C-gap read. And my C-gap player is usually the defensive end against an odd front, it's that overhang standing bandit. And our fullback is going to arc release him, veer release him, and he's looking for scraper to safety. Because the first job that he's going to do is protect our franchise. And if they scrape the backer, you got to block that guy. Because I'd rather my quarterback get hit by a safety than he would an inside linebacker. All right. If that end collapses the space and takes the back, then the quarterback pulls it and he runs flat out of it instead of running downhill. Why? Why do we run flat out of it immediately? Because I need to get the corner's eyes. And if I can get that corner to fall off this go ball throw, then I can throw a touchdown throw over the top. Now, this X receiver reads this play, and his eyes on an outside release are on this safety. The corner matters nothing to him. If that safety gets in the fit, he stays on his go. If that safety goes cover 2 over the top, he sits it down at a 10-yard window on the sideline. That way we get a whole shot throw right there. All right, so I kind of tried to explain as much as I could. This is an inside zone blocking scheme. This is one of our only inside zone blocking schemes that I put in this thing. All right, you see this goes back to my 2018 Bethel days right there. Had to get an NAIA shout out in the building right here. All right, that Sam linebacker is too tight to the fit. So my quarterback said, all right, I've got to make a leverage throw. I've got to fix that Sam. I got to fix the D-gap player. Well, with that corner off, we're going to throw the bubble. If that corner was tight, probably wouldn't have thrown a bubble. Probably would have thrown a stick route. Probably would have thrown an out route. Probably could have thrown the spot. Let him go block then right there. We've got a lot of options in the toolbox. I'm going to ask him which depth and width makes sense for that leverage throw. Anytime I can sing an old hymnal in my QB room, I try to get to the old hymnals. All right, you're able to see we throw the bubble, we fumble. That goes back to ball security. I'm not talking about ball security today, though. Okay. All right, I try to put as much MTSU film in here as I could to represent the Blue Raiders. All right, you see it here. Ball's in the middle of the field. This is a boundary RPO. So this is our boundary receiver right here. We're field and boundary based. All right. So can the Y block the Sam? Is what my quarterback's going to ask. Yes, I think he can. So there's no reason to fix that with a leverage throw. So we go to our boundary zone read. Great job by the fullback right here of a dick step, a veer release step. And then his job is to outrun the wheel or the safety to his outside pad. And you're seeing him continue to expand. As that quarterback comes out flat, he looks at the corner. The corner's got man eyes. And man eyes means he's never going to fall off. So it tells him to take off, run. He tucks it, and he continues following that fullback, and we get a big play. All right, little side note right here for my tempo-based teams. Watch what our QB does at the end of this. All right, I stole this from other coaches. Instead of us handing that ball to this referee on the sideline, we take the football to the stripes in the middle of the field because he's going to then spot it immediately. If we give it to this guy out here, he may fumble it. He may take all day. He may make a bad pass to his buddy in there on the hash. And I can't go as fast as I want to. So if you're a tempo-based team, that's something that we practice at practice is getting that ball to a ref in the middle of the field so we can go faster. All right, we're running inside zone. I know a lot of O-line coaches get mad at me because I don't always watch the butt shot, okay? Excuse me, my dad was an O-line coach for 42 years, so that gives me a little bit of leeway that I can bypass the butt shot every now and then. All right, same deal. I'm going to ask myself, is the Sam linebacker in the fit? I don't think he is. He's 7 yards off. He's a little bit wide. That's called depth and width. That's called leverage. So I think my slot receiver can block him. He gets in there to block him. We get a dig step, veer release right here by this second tailback. Quarterback pulls it. Watch his departure angle. He departs flat out of it because I want a chance to throw a touchdown ball. All right, we see man eyes, so then he tucks it, and that tailback wins on the outside pad. We get an explosive play right there by our quarterback. All right, the other thing we do is we run inside zone, and our tackle's job is to not let the DN touch him. So you see a veer release, but you see him slipping that defensive end. His job is to try to win inside pad of that will linebacker. Now, another thing we do, if that will linebacker scrapes, he chases him because he's got the inside pad of the will linebacker. I tell him if he goes to the sideline and go gets water, you go with him, but you better win on his inside pad when I go with him. All right, get another one here. Our quarterback decided to fix the leverage to the field right here. After he fixed it, this guy said, you know what? I've seen that signal before, so I'm going to get a little bit wider. So when he gets a little bit wider, the quarterback said, all right, I fixed it. I don't have to throw that leverage, though, if I give a signal to throw it. But I knew that he widened because he saw me give a signal to him. So we're running a bubble here. We don't have to throw it, but the signal alone just made them expand out of that gap. QB pulls it. We attack. Corner continues to get depth, so we're able to get the quarterback run. We try to do QB runs a few times a game. I don't want my quarterback running too much because, like I said, he's my franchise. That position is so valuable. You don't want that guy banged up. But I need to do it just enough that a defensive coordinator can't play me in cover one the whole game. All right, one more. All right, they end up blitzing us here, but we tempoed and we paced. I'd like for him to fix this with some type of leverage throw over here to the field, but we're tempoing it so he doesn't see it. We get a pull because the end squeeze, the corner's eyes are in the backfield, so when we pull flat out of there, corner falls off, and we're able to throw the go ball. Here's one rule you need to teach your quarterback. Never overthrow a wide open man. So if this guy comes open, don't lead him way upfield on this ball. If you have to slow him down to make this catch, I don't want to waste a 30-yard gain because you decide to try to throw a go ball like it's a true passing game concept on this play. So I want to always make sure this is a completion when we do throw this. All right, I'm going to read as I'm going on here. I've got a question here. How do you respond to defenses in slow play? All right, slow play means they can't get in the fit right now. So that means 4 or 5 yard run. So I love slow play. Slow play is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get them to slow play. All right, another thing, I can't do it out of this set with 2 tailbacks, but another thing that we've done over the last couple of years, Coach, I think, talked to me right before we may have did this a few years back, about 4 or 5 years ago. We have went to the pistol a lot more. When I go to the pistol a lot more, they cannot determine which side my back is going to run the inside zone from. So that makes them slow play even more. So me, as a son of an O-line coach, I like slow play. Slow play means run the football. That helps you a little bit right there. All right, next concept, all right, is one of our big ones. It's a day one install for us. You hear me, if you've heard me talk before, this is one that we love. It's the inside zone flats concept. We're going to block. My quarterback learns it this way. I'm going to protect you from C gap to C gap, all right? And it takes me back to another song, From Sea to Shining Sea, all right? We're going to protect you from sea to shining sea on inside zone right here. Your job is to fix a D gap. It doesn't matter which way. I could call 12 or 13. I could call red or black, green or blue, whichever side, whatever makes you go right and left with your O-line right here. Doesn't matter which direction you go on this play. That's why I love it, because there's a post snap on either side. This outside route is called a gift. If I'm a high school coach, I'm probably not throwing speed outs to the field to my number one receiver. I'm probably going to change that to a hitch or something like that. At my level, I hopefully can recruit guys that can make that throw. This throw is called a gift. A gift is called a proposal now in the Blue Raiders quarterback room. A proposal means you've been dating her a few years, you've talked to her dad, you've gotten his approval, you're in love with her, you're ready to drop down on one knee. If you're not ready to do all that, so if I ever ask you in the film room, Do you love that gift route out there? And you stutter or you pause. It's the same thing I'm going to do for you as if I ask you for your girlfriend, hey, are you ready to propose? And if you go, then I'm going to recommend you don't propose yet. All right. So that's how we describe that outside gift route. If you're not in love with her, don't throw her. Okay. If you're in love with her, you catch and throw right now. Now, one of these, either the stick route or the boundary speed out, one of them is the pre-snap answer and one of them post-snap answer. And here's how you know as my quarterback. Whichever way I turn you with the run tells you the side of the post-snap. So right here, I'm turning you to the left by running inside zone right. So that means the post-snap is the boundary. That means the pre-snap is the field. If we were happen to run an inside zone left by chance, then that just changes my pre and my post-snap. This side now would be my post-snap, and my boundary is my pre-snap answer. Okay, so let's watch a little bit of tape right here. Against the Iowa State Cyclones, a lot of the three safety defense. All right, I'm looking at my speed guy to the field. I'm saying, am I in love with her? Is that a beautiful concept? That has nothing to do with the box. That has nothing to do with fixing the D-gap player. Has zero to do with that. I've simplified it where if you love it, you throw it. And right here, he loved it. So he threw it. And like I said earlier, leverage throws, you better be 90 to 95% completion percentage on leverage throws. If I do a study and we're not, we're going to eliminate that throw. That is a pointless throw if we're not completing it at a high percentage chance right there. All right, so now let's look at other techniques. All right, if you're a defensive coach in the room, I think you have to leave the room at this moment, all right? You have to vacate the facility. We're running inside zone to the right here. So my quarterback knows I'm protected from C to C. All right, we have the gift route out here, which I don't love. I've got a low corner, so there's no reason to fall in love with that thing. All right, she does not have a good personality, so I'm not going to go on another date with her. All right, so I have the stick route here. I have the speed out here. This is my post-snap side. That's an awful way to spell right there, Coach. Post-snap. So this is my pre-snap answer. So let's go back to the toolbox real quick. And my toolbox has a pre and a post-snap side to it. And what does that mean, Coach? Chase asked me earlier about slow fitters. Well, let me teach you a little bit of defense. This is a defensive clinic too, Chase, all right? When I turn my back to this side of the field, these guys are taught now to fast fit. Because I went and listened to a couple of because they come and listen to my clinics, I go listen to their clinics too, okay? So they're going to teach fast fit. So you know what I'm starting to teach? I'm starting to teach, if you know you want to throw that stick, show your back to him. Use his rules against him. Get him in the fit by showing his football. I'm not reading that guy. I can't read, all right? You take this, write this one down. Use this in your QB room. I tell my QBs, you can't read into your brown hole, all right? I got two eyes on the front side. I got a brown hole on the backside. I can't read out of my backside, all right? So this decision was already made that I'm throwing this field stick. So he flashes it and deals it because he got the guy in the fit when he flashed it because they're taught to fast fit. All right? If you've ever been to clinic with me before or taught with me before, I don't hide much, all right? I will give you about everything in my wallet. I try to a couple little cents I keep in my back pocket just in case. But everything else I usually share. So you see I'm getting to that guy in the fit right there. Another look, we just try to hide our tailback. Here's where we're now running inside zone left here, C to C protection. This is now my pre-snap. This is the gift. I don't like the gift. She's being pressed out there. So now I'm post-snapping the D-gap player with this stick route right there. Oh, there it is, Chase. They slow fit. So what does slow fit tell your quarterback to do? It means hand the ball off. All right, so the two fitters are that guy and that guy. And you see when the ball's being handed, neither are in the fit. They're slow fitting. So slow fit usually means 4 or 5 yard run. We get probably 4. That means our O-line needs to be better right there. But sometimes their D-line is better than your O-line. But we got everybody that's fitting the run block in this situation. Now, I tell my quarterback, here's another thing you can use. Right? If you go to an outside event close to the beach and you look up on the railing, there's little bags. There's like Ziploc bags out there, which attract flies. I don't know if any of y'all have ever known that. But me being from Mobile, Alabama, you can hang bags outside and flies would go towards those bags. So Anytime my quarterback gets somebody's eyes with a fake, we call it a fly count. You attracted somebody away from the dinner. You attracted somebody away from the run play. So that's a fly count. So in practice, we compete for fly counts. Who can have the most flies in this practice today? And what I love is it helps quarterbacks carry out their fakes a little bit more by having a little competition every day. All right. Coach has shown an RPO that he hadn't thrown the ball yet on a post snap. I got to throw it one time. All right, so you see we're on the same play, C gap to C gap protection. Here's the post snap right here. Here's the D gap player I'm reading. He gets in the fit, and we're able to throw it right now. Now, Coach, why are you running an out-turning stick? Is another question a lot of people ask. Why don't you just run a hitch? Because I don't want him drifting in. Because I don't need this guy to be able to play both. That's why we out-turn. Another reason why we out-turn, right, and run him on a speed out is a lot of people now are running this two-read coverage where the corner is reading the release of two, right? So by running two out-turning routes, that corner's in a bind where he's got to expand a little bit, and we sit it instead of running out so we don't get his head knocked off by that cover two trigger corner. So that kind of answers all things. Now, for the O-line coaches in the room, I will watch the butt shot on this play just for you because my O-line coaches were a little frustrated me on this play because as you see, this tailback is bending a backside. This is veer. We're running veer at the end of the day. We're running backside B gap right now, and the fitter probably wouldn't have made this tackle. But I never second guess my quarterback. All right. Whatever he does, you got to pat him on the rear end and make that guy feel confident in the decisions that he makes. All right, one alternative right here. Coach, you go with me for time right here, Coach?
I have got all day. Do not feel pressed at all. I am soaking it all in. I've already got 3 pages full. And coaches, seriously, before he gets into, if you have any questions, put them in chat. I know a lot of y'all are writing all of this down. This will be up for a replay, so you can come back and watch this. Don't write notes. You have a genius here. Ask questions. All right, Coach, that's it. You take it away.
Beautiful. All right, so another alternative to that exact same play, because what I like to do is run the same plays but at a different ways, all right? Instead of creating a new daggum Rolodex every week, I'm going to do my Rolodex. I'm going to change some up. So about halfway through spring ball, about halfway through your season, everybody's scheming up, you run an inside zone this way. So then we change it up and we run same side zone. All right, we're still running the same RPO, there, and the stick route. But now instead of us running inside zone left going this way, I'm now taking my tailback and running a midline-like path. So I open my quarterback to a 90-degree angle right here. So it's still the same exact play. We just said, you know what? We're just going to run it different today. And the reason why I like it this way, because instead of how slow it takes the tailback to go there, the tailback is running a right now path. And that makes that Sam linebacker get in the fit immediately. All right, so there again, Chase, if they want a slow fit, running same side inside zone hits immediately. So it's even a faster gain and gets that guy to be faster in his fit by going same side. So I threw one of those clips in there as well. All right, let's get to another concept. We run a glance, and there's 3 ways we run this glance. I'm going to show inside zone just one time, but then I'm going to show you with power, and then I'm going to show you with inside zone ISO concept where the fullback inserts inside to run the same exact play. Now, for us, all we do is attach 8 to it. 8 for us is on our route tree, a skinny post, all right, or it's a 5-step glance. Over here, these 2 guys are running double slants. Now, what is that right there for? That right there is your leverage throw. Because I'm never going to pre-snap a glance. I know some people that pre-snap glances. I can't live with myself at night throwing a 3rd level throw that I pre-snapped it. Okay, so this is always going to be by post-snap side. So weekly, I'm going to change my leverage. My leverage may be double slants week 1. It may be go flat week 2. It may be spot screen week 3. So I can play with my leverage side, my pre-snap side. So for us, this double slants, the inside slant is an answer for pressure. The outside slant is still that gift proposal route. All right, if you like one of those, if you have pressure, you can deal it. If you love the outside throw, you can deal it. All right, I think you got one look of one of those on here. Into the boundary now, it's a D-gap read. D-gap means the corner. It could mean the safety. All right, instead of just telling him the safety, it could be either guy. All right. Little D2 days, going back to the Arkansas Tech days, 2015 or 2017 off of this clip against Monticello, Arkansas. They gave me an off corner outside, so we're running double slants right here. The outside slant's there, so you see he just catches and throws. We're still running split zone inside. So you're never going to catch me just calling double slants much in a game off of pass pro. I'm going to call double slants with some type of RPO so that I'm always throwing it when it's the best look to throw. The same exact play, 2018, Bethel Wildcats. I saw a Bethel Wildcat in the chat room a while ago. They're bringing field pressure. And that's one answer. That's one thing that hurts this play is field pressure because my O-line's got to push out. When they got to push out to the zone side, that means there's somebody in the box that we can't block. So by adding the hot answer, you essentially fix the box for your quarterback. And we throw the inside hot slant right there. Now, what is he doing? He's flashing that ball. I don't advise flashing the ball on the hot throw, just to be honest with you, all right? If you do that, you're on your own, all right? So you cannot sue me is what I tell them. I make them sign an agreement. All right, let's get to 2021, a new decade right here. We're back in 2021. We got the double slants right here. We got the glance coming from the boundary. You see, as I'm reading, Chase, they're slow fitting me. I love slow fit. Now, quarterback is wrong. He ends up pulling this, but he fast fits after he pulls it, so we get lucky. Our left tackle, it's a non-padded day, so our left tackle didn't want to smash the defensive end. So I understand where he's at right here. But we're able to hit the glance. But I would love this ball to have been handed off based off of this fitter not fitting immediately. All right, so off that same concept, we run the power, but now I have to teach it different. I can't teach it the same way to my quarterback anymore. Even though it's the same RPO, it is taught different because I'm taking a backside gap and I'm adding it to the front side of the play. So that means massive negative off the backside edge. We actually call this the hot gap, like a little reference to 300, the hot gates right there. All right, that's the hot gap. If there's any pressure backside, it will hit you if you try to throw a late throw. We have to understand that. Now, we've changed our tackles rules backside on gap scheme too. Instead of true gap seal hinge, we're more one step and locking on the defensive end because for my quarterback, if one of these two guys come, that's on you. So if he blitzes here, and if he's not an immediate blitzer, then that's on the quarterback to either hand it or throw his hot slant right now. Now, I'm not going to go over power. Everybody knows what power is, but I'm going to show you a look of us running. Here's the double slant concept. Here's the glance, and we just quick motion the glance to try to get off corner this day. And we're running 11 personnel, one back power. And they're blitzing the Sam linebacker. They're bringing a field blitz right here. The quarterback sees the field blitz and throws his inside slant. Nope, not going to hit me from the backside. But why did he do that? He did that because I've over-taught him what the hot gap is on gap scheme. Hey, gap scheme, what's the major problem? Major problem is the backside. Major problem is the backside. Major problem is the backside. And if I over-teach him that, then hopefully on Friday night, he doesn't get Shawn Michaels' sweet chin music on that daggone blitz. All right, now the next way, I don't have the playbook version of this, but I'll draw it up for you. The next way that we're going to run that same concept is zone lock ISO. We have a one-word call. I'm not going to tell everybody all my one-word calls, but it's zone lock ISO. We're running inside zone right. We're going to lock one and lock two, and now my fullback is going to ISO the backside linebacker. So instead of running true inside zone, it gives me another scheme to run this. Now, coach, you can't do this. There's double slants. You don't have a double slant to the field in this 21 set. Well, here's the rule. Your rules don't change. My quarterback just figures out I don't have an inside slant. What that inside slant do? It fixed the hot gap. Well, I don't need a hot gap fix anymore because I have a tight end over there, and the tight end is going to block the D gap. So by formation, I can still stay in the same world where this guy is the slant, but he's blocking. What did the outside slant? Why was he there? He was there as a gift. He's still the gift. So I can get 21 personnel. I can put my best receiver to the field. If they play off on him, I'm going to throw it all day long, okay? And then I still have the post-snap glance in the boundary based off the D-gap fitter. Now, they end up stunning and bringing the wheel linebacker, so it looks like I'm running split zone right here. So don't chew me out. It was split zone ISO. And to prove it to you, I will show you another clip. All right, going back to 2017 in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. If you ever been there, it's just slightly above Monticello, Arkansas, as one of the hottest, worst places in the world to have a September game. Okay. So I've got a leverage concept to the field. This week we changed our leverage concept to running a smash answer. Sam linebacker was too tight, corners off, I throw that. Okay, so that was built into the field instead of running double slants. Now we have the glance into the boundary. We're running zone, lock, ISO, and you're seeing my Larry Zonka, Tom Rathman-like H-back fullback gets to do what he loves now and run ISO. Now, why do we run split zone ISO, Coach? Why don't you just put him in that B gap and go straight ahead? Because I don't want to be sued for CTE 20 years from now. So I'm going to give him an advantage to come and hide a little bit and pick a side instead of old school straight ISO, hit him in the mouth right there. All right, I almost closed out my cut up. Got to go back to that. All right, so we're able to throw. What are you doing? I got to go back and find it. Sorry, bear with me. I'll find it real quick.
While you're doing that, we had a couple of questions I wanted to go ahead and get in.
Yep.
First, Joe wanted to know, what are you teaching your quarterback to do with their feet and stance when you tell him to show his back to the defender?
All right. I don't overcoach that. All right. All I do is I tell him to turn his front shoulder down to the back. I don't want to put the ball in the belly. I don't want to do the ride. All I want to do is turn my shoulders. My feet shouldn't move, because I don't want my feet to overturn and then have to come all the way back. So I'm going to keep my feet where they're at, because he's not watching my feet. He's watching my shoulders and my head. Okay. So I'm just going to turn my shoulders so then I can just already have my feet ready to turn and make that throw. All right. That helps you out.
Yes, sir. All right. We got another one. Anthony basically wants to know, why did you go from the pistol, or go from the shotgun to the pistol?
I went to the pistol because in 2016 spring, I walked down the hall and I heard my DC and my D-line coach at Arkansas Tech debating how they were going to play the tailback. When the tailback was to the boundary, they were going to play it this way. When the tailback was to the field, they were going to play it this way. But just by hearing their conversation, I went down the hall to my running back coach, said, hey, let's work the pistol today just so we can screw the guys on the other side of the ball in spring ball. And ended up loving it because exactly that reason, because they try to do so much pre-snap recognition of where your tailback's at that when you go pistol, it slows all that down, where they now have to figure everything out now pre-snap or post-snap. So that's why we do it.
Okay. Next question, and I'll let you get to this, because I've fallen in love with
this. Is what you want to do.
Right, it is. John wants to know, when you change to the inside zone on the same side, front side, do you adjust the techniques, protection of the blockers with the running back getting there faster?
The O-line has no idea that it's anything different. They're still running the inside zone. They're still going to double team to the backers the same way. They're going to hang on that double team as long as humanly possible. The only thing that now we tell that tailback is he is going through the left leg. If we're going inside zone left, he's going at the left side leg of the center. Quarterback's going to move off the midline. So the mesh changes a little bit for the quarterback and the tailback. Now, instead of overcomplicating reads to quite possibly your best athlete in your school, who's your tailback, we make it simple on that kid. And he reads the butt of the center. I've got people that tell me, read the second D lineman, read. Heck no, all right? I was a high school coach, and I had high school running backs that I had to make sure they were in class every day, all right, that I followed around school. I'm not overcomplicating it for that dude. We're going to track the butt of the center, and we're going to cut off of it. As simple as it is. So if we're running either way inside zone, his eyes are still chasing the butt of that center, if that helps you out.
Okay. All right. Coaches, I'll ask you a question. Keep asking them. We talked off air. I love the buck sweep this spring, so I'm looking forward to this. Take it away, Coach.
All right. So I spent 2 years at Auburn with Coach Malzahn. As everybody knows, Gus Malzahn is a big believer and lover of the buck sweep. And it goes back to him being a high school football coach. And he started running wing T as a high school coach and learned how to run it out of the shotgun. So we're running wing T buck sweep out of the shotgun. This is not, and I don't advise anybody because me looking at it, there's nobody in conflict on a buck sweep. So I do not RPO with the buck sweep. It is very difficult to RPO the buck sweep, and I'll tell you why. Because to truly run the buck sweep, I need a receiver to crack the box and to seal the box. So we're going to get about a 4 or 5 yard split from the tackle by that single receiver right there. He's going to take a one-step slant, and his job is to seal the first linebacker, the first thing inside the box. Anything hairy, just seal it, okay? Your fullback, H-back, tight end, his job is to go directly at the defensive end. And when he goes directly at the defensive end, he allows the DN to make the decision. And if the end is a hard squeeze, he then seals him in. If the end is an upfield player, he then keeps him out. All right, so we're not trying to force this thing. Our H-back goes right at him, and then we play off of him because our guards read the block of the H-back. Okay, so we're always right. The key to the play, though, is the H-back has to stay engaged. He cannot come off of that block. You have to stay engaged. Our front side tackle is gap down rules. All right, he's running power. He's running counter to him. He's gap down in the first thing in his gap. All right, but he's got to serve two masters. He can't allow penetration on his first step, and then his second step, he can't allow a guy to come over the top. So that's a tough job that we're asking him to do. All right, by trying to do that. If the front side guard does not have an A-gap player, he's going to do what we call a question mark pull, where he's going to try to scrape paint off the fullback, unless the fullback is expanding. If the fullback's expanding, you get up inside of it. The fullback squeezes it, you scrape paint off of him, and then get vertical, and then go kick out because you weigh 300 pounds. That defensive back that you're going to kick out is 180, and is a lot more of an athlete than you are. And if you try to go right at him, he's usually going to make you miss. So we cut that away, and we force him to stay outside by getting vertical and then going to kick out, keeping him outside of us right there. The center's blocking back. The backside tackle's got a gap seal hinge, and now our backside guard is now the reader of everything. The backside guard is the fixer, all right? He's the cure to cancer, essentially, on this play. He's going to try to get about 2 to 3 yards depth on a hybrid pull. It's between an L pull and a skip pull. It's not a power pull. It's not a trap pull. It's a kind of a mixture of both. And he's pulling for the backside backer. Here's the tough part. You pick him up whenever he shows up. So if he blitzes through this A gap, you pick him up right there. If you don't get him until you get all the way around this thing, then that's where you pick him up. But at the end of the day, you have that backside backer. Unless, and I'll give you an unless rule, and I put this in here. Let's say they switch this front on us like this. Now our front side guard has an A-gap player. Now there's some people that pull their center or stuff like that. We don't do that, okay? That front side guard is now going to make a I'm here call, saying, hey, I'm not pulling anymore. So we're going to make a pass off. I'm going to block down. It means this tackle is actually going to block down and get the backside backer. So your guard, your man has been blocked with the gap down rule. So now you have to become the question mark. We switch jobs, and you take off on an L pull now, and now you are the kick out player when we pass things off in that different front right there. Our tailback is going to be offset. He's going to come up and across, and his job is to find the butt of that backside guard. The backside guard takes him to the hole. And what I love about this play is this thing hits A gap, B gap, C gap, or loops around the whole play. It can go anywhere. And if you watch all these clips, you're going to say that's not the same play. It is the same play because it can go anywhere because that guard fixes everything. Now, as I said earlier, I don't RPO this. I know some people that try to RPO the mic. Here's the problem. The mic is not in conflict here. The mic has zero responsibility to this two receiver set. So by RPOing the mic, you're kind of wasting it right here. They actually can outdo you because they have 3 hats over 2 hats. So the mic's not in conflict. The mic has zero rule to get out over those 2 guys. So what we do is we run some type of leverage throw here. All right. As you see, our first leverage throw off of install is double slants. I put another example of a leverage throw built into this cut up as well. All right, but this inside slant is a hot. Why do you have a hot there? Well, here's the problem. What hurts buck sweep? One thing that hurts buck sweep is field pressure. And you're going to think, why? What are you talking about, Coach? Why does field pressure hurt the buck sweep? Field pressure hurts the buck sweep because you are killing your O-line. Because if they blitz from here, that means he's going there. He's crossing the center's face. He's crossing the tackle's face. And I just told you earlier, I'm asking the center and the right tackle to serve two masters. They've got to stop penetration. That's the number one thing they got to do. So when they hard step this way, try to stop penetration, and that D lineman loops over the top of them, it's rare that they're going to get them. I'm going to be honest with you. And it's going to be a bad run. So this slant right here actually fixes a bad run. All right? It has nothing to do with an RPO. It's actually a run fix right there. The outside slant is still the gift on the outside right there. And then you can build whatever leverage throw you want to on the other side of the buck sweep. All right, I try to hide my fullback on this play. He comes in motion right here. That way I can guarantee the seal block because I hide him outside that defensive end so we can crash the end down this week. Do you love this slant? Do you love this? Are you hot to throw this slant? Probably not. So neither leverage is great with those slants getting pressed. They actually corner cat us, which I'm fine with because the first guard, what's your rule? It's to kick out whatever the first thing's outside the box. So when you blitz into this play, it is okay. It's still a good play. You see my receiver is going to crack the first thing he thinks is in the box. And then the backside guard is going to pull for the mic, and you get him whenever he shows. So what ends up happening is this extra hat has to figure out where in the hat to fit this run. And that's why everybody loves this run is because everything is so cluttered up. Where does this guy fit? Does he fit in here? Does he try to fit there? Does he try to fit there? And the back can wait, and then burst and make a play. And you're asking your athletic tailback to be an athlete and make a great play. Going back to my Auburn days, I tried to put another clip of a good pull, but then here's a leverage throw. Coach, I know you've talked about in the past on the spot screen. So this is what we did this week. We threw just the spot screen right here. And that just was a number-based play where we said, all right, we're going to block the force guy, and then we're going to see how many numbers they put out there. They've got numbers out there, so we should have a good run. And you're seeing the fullback stay engaged right here. Let's watch the butt shot. One of our butt shots that quarterback Coach Dearmon is going to show. We've got to stay engaged right here. We're going to down block here. We're going to down block there. We're staying engaged. We're going to seal the first thing in the box with the receiver. We're going to question mark, pull, kick out. If it expands, we can get up inside. The backside guard is pulling for the backside backer. He's going to get a depth about 2 or 3 yards on this hybrid pull, and he can pick him up anywhere. And you get to see the fullback had to expand. The backside guard saw it and came up inside to pick that block up. And believe it or not, this thing actually hits a gap with how this tailback hits this play. So the tailback is fully reading the guard of the backside linebacker. That's a lot to get a 5-yard run right there. All right, then you can add motion to this play. And you see us run a orbit motion to run buck sweep to the field. I'm still going to run some type of leverage answering out of my single. We're going to crack the first thing in the box now with our field receiver. Fullback's still doing his job. But now what you get is you get bad eyes because of the motion. And now we have an A-gap player. With an A-gap player, we make the I'm here call. It says, all right, we're down all the way to the backside. So now you have to be the question mark puller on this play. And you see the motion brought flies away from the run. Fullback stays engaged. The backside guard sees that, reads it, gets up inside to go on his kick out. And that seal block doesn't have to be a knockout. Usually if you try to teach a knockout block, number one, it's a penalty almost every day now. And number two, he's going to whiff. That's more of a just same way your center is going to try to do a back block. Is the same exact way we're going to do that. And you see that tailback just finds the guard's butt and makes a big play there. So that's our buck sweep. I'm going to hit stop sharing now. I'll try to go and see if there's any more questions.
We got a couple. First off, thank you so much, man. That was amazing. And I'm going to go back and watch some more buck cut-ups. And coaches, if you haven't already, in the link of the description is Coach's course. It is unbelievable. I watch it at least once a week almost, and you need to check it out if you want to learn more. It's right down there in the description. I saw one. Where was it at? Here we go, about the glance. Would you check off the glance into a go route if the backside wide receiver gets a press look?
What I do is I'm a math teacher. All right. And I also, in my younger days, living in Mobile, Alabama, spent too much time in Biloxi, Mississippi at the Hard Rock Casino. And what you do when you throw fade balls is it's a statistic. It's a 50-50 throw. And me being a numbers guy, I do not like 50-50. 50-50 means I'm going to win half the time. And I don't like winning half the time. I like winning more often than I lose. That's why I don't go to the casino anymore. I used to love going and playing blackjack, but I figured I lost more than I would win. So I do not check into fade balls when that glance happens. I will find other ways. As you saw from that tape, I may do a quick motion so I get off coverage. I'm going to find formations that I get off coverage. I'm going to find motions that I get off coverage. That helps you out.
Yes, sir. Another one. How are you teaching the wide receivers to run the glance route?
It's a 5-step slant. That's the easiest way I've ever taught it. Is your job is to get 5 steps vertical, and then you come as flat as you need to, the same way you do on a slant. So that you've got a tight corner and you're worried about him undercutting it, then you need to run it like a dig. If that corner's off and outside, you can run it more of a 45-degree angle. So it's a 5-step slant. It's the best way I've learned.
Okay. Joel loves your explanation for the RPO out of the pistol. Yes. I agree. I like the pistol as well. And when people would ask me, I didn't know how to respond. I'm glad that you responded the way you did, because now I'm going to take that and I'm going to say that I came up with it. So yeah. You were the freaking man.
We all steal something from somebody at some point in life.
All right. Rodney wants to know, what is the difference to you between buck sweep and pin and pull?
All right. Buck sweep, you're involving the receiver in the crack. The receivers coming in to truly get a crack sweep is the buck sweep. NFL-based pin and pull is more of it's kind of a hybrid between a zone and a gap scheme, because somebody's going to pull to get the support, and then we've got a zone, or the second puller's pulling for the play side backer, and the receiver just either runs off or gets the D-gap player. So you're blocking the same guys, but you're doing it in a different way. I like the buck sweep because I like angles. I like the receiver setting the edge to that play, and it also gives a chance for our big body receiver to go in there and get his nose dirty every now and then too. And it's, to be honest with you, it sets up some nasty play actions off of when you run a buck sweep.
Okay. Eli wants to know, do you coach the backside guard to get depth in the pool into the backfield? Why or why not?
Yes. We're going to try to get about 2.5 yards of depth on that play. If he doesn't get that 2.5 yards depth, he's not going to see that linebacker when he needs to see him. So it is that's probably the toughest pull that we have in our offense, to be honest with you.
Okay. You got an alumni in the chat right there.
Tiger Woods.
Chase wants to know, do you ever run into problems with ineligible linemen getting downfield? And I want to wrap that into your whole RPO, because that's one of the things I hear a lot about is illegal man down the field. Coaches want to run RPOs, but they're really worried about that. What is your response to people that ask you? Because I know you probably get that asked all the time.
I get about 2 calls a year because either I try to design plays that are quick hitters, or we overcoach. Our O-line overcoaches spending time on the double team. You know, I've run into O-line coaches that are more just true gap on their inside zone. For us, it's man. We have man blocking rules essentially on the inside zone, and we make the back make us right on the double team. So we hang on that double team as long as humanly possible. Now, at high school, you probably can get O-linemen that every now and then get a D lineman that they can completely uproot. It is rare in college football to have a D lineman completely uprooted, because the level is so similar of athletes. So for us, we don't get lineman downfield calls that much. Usually my 2 a year is when my quarterback was indecisive, pulled it, double clutched, held it. So usually our lineman downfield calls is because our quarterback made a bad or a late decision.
Okay. Dustin wants to know, when in pistol, do you prefer the RPO on the front side of the defense or the back side?
It really depends on which D gap they're trying to fit the fastest. If they're it's based off of their coverage more than anything. So I don't have a preference. We'll go either way.
All right. Byron wants to know, how do you drill? Like, is there one drill, if anybody's running the RPO, that they need to run this every single day, or do you have multiple drills that you spread out throughout the week?
I have a drill tape, and I'll tell you what, I'll actually pull up a couple real quick if you're okay with that.
Like I said, dude, I am fine. This is amazing. I appreciate you doing this.
So I've got a couple drills.
If you share your screen real quick,
about 2 or 3 times a week. And of course, now old DV Sport is telling me not responding. So give me just a second.
That is fine.
Share my screen.
There you go.
And Byron, email me. You know you can email me.
It's already up. All you gotta do is.
All right, let's pull there we go. All right, so I'm gonna hit a couple drills here that we're gonna do all the time. All right, that's mechanics. Don't want to hit mechanics. All right, here's 2 that you're gonna see us do about 2 or 3 times a week. All right, number 1, I call it walking turns, because in order for me to play quarterback, I've got to be a shortstop in baseball, essentially. You've got to have quick hips and quick hands. So I've got to constantly work quick hips and quick hands. So the first one here you're going to see is walking turns. It's very simple, very easy. It's in our warm-up every day. I'm going to take 3 steps away from my target. Right, left, right. And on that 3rd step, right, left, right. On my 3rd step, I've got to flip my hips around, and that forces me to make that dramatic hip flip throw to finish through over the top of my toe right there. So that's a simple way to me work a hip flip in the RPO game. All right, another one that I do is called an angle flip. I just started doing this one here recently. This is going to help me in my progressions, but it also helps you in your RPOs and your hip flip. Is I point these 3 guys in a direction. Say you're going to hit a shuffle drop. And when I make a ball call or a clap, because I like them working off a reaction. So you see me clap here. All right. When I clap, they then flip to make their throw to their target. All they're doing is turn into a baseball. All right. The first baseman's made a throw, and they're quick catching it, and they're getting it out at second base to turn 2. So that would be the first time through. All right. The next time through, you see they get the ball back. They make that same exact throw, but I make a clap at a different time. But then I change their angle. Or I say, all right, well, I'll go, y'all dropping this way. Now, I want you to drop this way, but I want you to drop as if you're a wrong-hander. All right, so these 2 are righties, and they're acting like they're lefty. This guy's my lefty. He's acting like he's a right-hander in his drop. So what does that do? It forces a complete 180 in my hip flip to do that. So I change their direction every day. This is something that you can do on the EDD. During special teams, get your quarterbacks to go do these drills to work their hips. And then the last one is I'm going to work, it's called rapid fire. You can also call this the Old West drill, all right? I'm going to ask my quarterback, who survived in the Old West? The guy that survived in the Old West was the guy that had the quickest hands, because he drew that gun the fastest out of the holster. So I'm going to have 3 targets. I'm going to label them 1, 2, 3, just like that. The first ball, you're going to throw to 1. The second ball, you throw to 2. Third ball, you throw to 3. Your hands are behind your back, and you're going to quick draw. I put the ball at face level. And as soon as I drop is when you can pull your gun out of its holster right there. Your job is to catch and get it out quick, turn to a baseball. Now, the one thing I love that I put on the quarterbacks is I stay in front of them. And you see me right here put a hand in their face. What does that do? It forces them to make an awkward throw or an off-platform, different arm angle throw right there. Makes them feel pressure in their face. There it is again. I put both hands up in front of his face. He now has to throw that thing around me to get to his target. So that way, when we get in a game, I can't ever say, I never put you in that situation. I never made you feel uncomfortable, so you had to make that awkward throw. So we're working so many things in those 3 drills right there. I try to do those 3 drills at least 2 or 3 times a week. And now I come at him and I actually force him off the spot to make that throw. So those are 3 drills, Byron, that we're going to live off of and do all the time, if that helps out.
Yes, sir. Those are awesome, man. Eli wants to know, what's the quarterback, running back footwork on the RPO from pistol on buck? You don't run a RPO. How would you run it from pistol?
We don't run that pistol.
Okay.
I would hide it. We can get in pistol, and right before the snap, you can buzz him over. But we've never ran it out of pistol. I'm sure that I could probably try to configure a way to do it. We just never have.
Okay. 2 more questions, Coach, and then we are good. I want to ask one right here. Coach wants to know, do you have any issues with DNs in the throwing lanes out of pistol? Do you have any?
All right, so what we do is we tell our fullback, anytime we attach an RPO, your job is to block the defensive end. So I know a lot of people are inside zone based, and they tell that fullback to duck walk straight through, and if you get a pass rushing in, stay on path. Well, that's all cool until that end hits your quarterback. So anytime I put an RPO, you have a man on the defensive end. So if he goes to the sideline, you go with it. All right. So what that does is that kind of helps eliminate that DN getting in the quarterback's face when we do that stuff.
Okay. And I want to ask this one because I'm curious as well. What's your favorite play action off of Buck Sweep?
All right. Our favorite play, there's 2 favorite play actions off Buck Sweep is you put some type of high-low concept to the field off the buck. It could be smash. It could be go flat. It could be sail concept. You create some type of high-low over there. And then off the play action fake, we actually pull both our guards on it to get the linebackers to flow. But our single receiver off the backside goes in the box like he's cracking and then basically runs Y cross, but out of our X receiver. So he's going diving down at that angle. So we get both of those boundary fitters fall off thinking the buck's coming. We get the linebackers to fit it because the guards are pulling, and then we run the cross right there. So we go high-low concept to the crosser is our favorite play action off the buck.
I love that. Well, Coach, thank you so much for doing this, man. I appreciate it. I'm going to go back and watch this over. What's the best, if coaches wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way? Is it through email or is it through Twitter?
Either one.
Okay.
Anytime to help get the logo out there for us in recruiting, anytime that anybody can give us a Twitter shout out, we always love it. That's awesome for us. But then my email address is brent.dearmon@mtsu.edu.
Okay.
Feel free to reach out. There's some of these things I have as a PDF I can share with you as well. I have my quarterback drill tape that I can share out to guys as well.
Okay. Coaches, I'm gonna tweet out tagging him, retweet that so we can get everybody out and know how great the staff is up there and the program, and just get it out there for recruiting. All right. So be on the lookout for that. Coach, thank you so much for doing this again. And I will see y'all later, coaches.